Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. Zoo on a big Thursday afternoon, 4 o'clock here, 11th of June, 2026. You are welcoming in episode number 80. 80, can you believe it? 80 chats across the board. Incredible. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We've got someone trying to ring in on the line already. Well, hang on. No, we'll kill that. That's okay. Now, yes, people, we're showing no mercy. No mercy on all fronts. We are WA. Welcome aboard. Beautiful place, WA. Dr. Zoo will fly there on one of his trips. Don't you worry. He definitely loves WA because WA, it should have seceded from Australia many years ago. I think in 1933 they tried and it was the worst outcome. They should have broke away and created their very own country. Their very own country. Yapoon. Hey-ho! Been up there. Holy dooly. Brisbane. We love Brisbane. Thailand. Welcome, Thailand. Yes, we've got fantastic. Oh, geez, the Thailand people, you are amazingly wonderful people up there. And our Bahamian people as well, as we always talk about. That's Parish and Wayne. They have been patiently. We can't wait to see some big results for you people. Shell Harbour, fantastic. It's all happening. It'll be all over the place. Now, Dr. Zoo just wants to play a quick little repeat because we are on the front foot, people. We have been patiently working our way through building, creating, innovating, and making it all happen. Hey, the Mekong's tuned in. Thank you very much, Deck the Halls. Lovely to have you on board, I can tell you. And we've got some wonderful people down there from Texas today. Welcome in the crew from Texas and some of our great friends in California. Fantastic. And Europeans. Now, today, Dr. Zoo wants to get into quite a few topics and keep you posted. Nothing yet from Austrac, which is fine. As soon as we do, we press the button. That's been instructions. Riley is on standby. In fact, I know for a fact because we've had the boys all week and they are doing a marvellous job. Marvellous. They've been quietly doing another few rounds of testing, getting it ready so you guys can go absolutely ballistic and we can focus on mass marketing. I'm super impressed with the version 2 Zukaz app. It's going to be a world game changer. Some people are going to go out into space and sit in Mars. Not us. We stay focused. We stay here. We tackle the big issues. Had a few people that are a bit down and out with the Labor government. They've been ringing into Dr. Zoo. We've looked at some strategies. We've talked about it. Kuya Beach, good to see you on board. That's a nice spot too. I wonder who lives there. Wow. Look at that. My out's coming off the river to listen to our bank speakers. Fantastic. Don't you worry, everybody. They've got speakers there. They've got phones. We are revolutionising your lifestyles up there as well. 10 coins. That's all you need. 10 coins. You don't need SpaceX. We talked about that. It's a absolute whoopee-doopie situation. It'll probably go up and then it'll come off big time. Oversubscribed. But the money's coming out from elsewhere. Market had a bit of a dip last night. Wasn't too pleasant for those that are in the market, but doesn't worry us. Not one iota. Trumpy keeps dropping those machine guns and big missiles there on Iran. Dr. Zoo told you about that. You can't change the ideology and the philosophy. It is difficult to do. It's very difficult. In fact, one of my great heroes, the great man, Churchill, he said it. He said it. And I tell you what he said many years ago still applies today, especially when we're dealing with some fruitcakes, as we've talked about in this country. I say that because many people have come to Dr. Zoo stressed, and I'm talking serious financial stress. They've worked their butts off, they've set up businesses, and now they've got no exit strategies. Well, we've had a few plans on the table. Have a listen to a couple of Dr. Zoo shows. Best structure, individual trustee of a trust, hybrid trust. You will be able to create wealth by not paying tax in a legal and proper way, raising capital, non-voting units, and then transporting those into a tokenized security. Interesting news early in the week too, by the way, everybody. People don't realise that the creation of the giant corporations law is only at the behest of a referral from state powers. In other words, the states get together, they have the power over the securities laws, and they referred that power under the Constitution to the Commonwealth to look after. But it's on a 5-year agreement. Every 5 years, they all get together, get on the grog, and then re-sign it, which puts in play the corporations law. Because many, many years ago, probably well before people were born, there was a man called Alan Bond. And while he was sitting in a cell, they realised that the corporations law back then, which is the Corporations Act today, was unconstitutional. And that overturned all of the corporations law and set things in motion where the states had to refer the power, because there's only certain powers the Commonwealth has. You've just got to go through the list. There it is, section 51. And it's coming up for renewal because the racing industry has decided it's too complicated to have the Australian Securities Investment Commission fluttering around telling everybody that when you syndicate a racehorse, the risks are so great, you've got to have a prospectus, PDS, on the syndication of the racehorse. Now, how crazy is that? You think about it. You spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, you put all this information into a document, you make it 200 pages thick, and you're warning everybody about the risks of racehorses as an investment. Well, I can give you the warning on the front page, right at the front, right at the top. It says you'll blood up your ass. Pretty simple. If consumers like to do that, then they'll buy a racehorse. You don't need accountants and lawyers and reams of information about the syndication of a racehorse. And what's interesting, someone has woken up out of their deep sleep and coma in the racing industry and said, this is crazy. It's a huge cost on the industry. It's a burden. Let's get rid of that stuff and possibly just let the state bodies run it themselves under their own provisions. They have existing provisions for syndication of racehorses. Pretty simple. You get a horse, you buy it, you race it, you pay the bills, and you got a 0.3% chance of winning a Group 1. Think about it. There's 74 Group 1s a year in Australia. There's about $800 million that gets paid out, and you got a 0.3% chance of it. There's 39 or 40,000 horses running around. It's not hard to put on the front cover. This is not a good investment. And if you don't want to put your money in it, don't put it in it. You don't need a massive document to tell you that. You don't need all the accounting stuff. And a bit like the prospectus there we talked about with SpaceX. How crazy. No one wants to talk about all the satellites getting fried every 5 years. No one wants to talk about radiation that comes out before you even get your foot on Mars. No one talks about the expansive capital costs that are involved. $1.5 trillion replacement cost every 5 years. But look, some fools will come in and the price will move and it'll go up and everybody runs on Elon and he gets the $80 billion and they pay out a bit of debt. Next thing he'll be merging Tesla in there because that's not going too good. Can't keep living off the back of the hoo-ha about electric cars these days. It's getting harder and harder. Now, where am I going with this? We have to defend ourselves, people. Decentralisation. Democratising global commerce. That's what it's about. The power is in your hands, and that goes across the entire spectrum as individuals, as citizens of this great country. Don't let you be hijacked by Albo, Jimbo. We talked about some of the naughty things that they said about some of these people. It's only been getting better and better. I mean, if these blokes are so sensitive to having a few words, choice words thrown at them and name calling, well, they shouldn't be in politics. They should not be there. We need to defend ourselves against these clowns and stand up for the structures that we should be having. I'm sick and tired of poor people this week. Hard-working people building their businesses, creating opportunities for others, wanting to open restaurants and things, and too scared because they can't afford all the idiots in government and the bureaucrats that want to siphon off all the top cream off the top of their hard-earned work. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Never seen anything like it. When Dr. Zoo was running around doing accounting and looking at small businesses, this is back in 1981, there was a vibe. There was an inspiration. Get out there, make it happen. Well, we're going to make it happen with Zucoins and Zucas. and split chain and Zutopia and the firepower. So excited. I mean, the Zutopia testing has just been getting better and better. I know we're waiting on Austrac, but let me tell you, it's going to be sweet. The transfers of coins, the money flow, absolutely schmick, people. But we're going to have to fight for it. We've got to fight for it across the board in everything we do, everything we look at, people we talk to, the daily aspects of not letting these people hijack your wealth. And that is across the board. So let's just have a think about what the great man said. This is what he said some years ago.
We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender.
Exactly right, people. Exactly right. Couldn't be far greater choice words today than what they represented back then. I know there was a bit of angst across the great ocean there with the war, but it's the same thing. You get some peanuts in power, and this is what happens. We need to make sure we're on top of it. We're going to do everything we can with the learning curves of the past to put you in box seat. Now, let's talk about a couple of box seat situations. Firstly, Robert Novak. It couldn't be, I mean, even today is a great day. Today, for a number of reasons, but the 11th of June, 2026. We may remember 4 years ago on this great day, Alligator Blood came back from back surgery, written off, 0.3% chance of winning a Group 1. Why do I keep going on about it? Because the name. You are all alligator bloods. You all have alligator blood in you. It means to be resilient, tenacious, and never give up. Never give up. Doesn't matter where you are, who you're with, never give up. And we have 200,000 plus supporters there. People that look up, wear the hat. Why? Because they've got financial problems. They're struggling with all the difficulties that they've been facing. Health problems, cancer, you name it. Last 2 years ago, we had 6 young people want to commit suicide. They looked up and realised, never give up. Put the alligator blood cap on, looked at the horse and said, hang on. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving. Let's keep fighting. We shall never give up. Great immortal words of Churchill, which is what we're doing. We're coming out fighting and swinging because we are in box seat while everybody's running around loose cannons. And the great man, Robert, I've got to take my hat off. Incredible stuff. We thought we'd put in some applications not that long ago to the Australian Financial Review, given that we have an extraordinary history, particularly my background, fighting through bankruptcies and government cases and all the rest of it, and challenging the world to see a new rail system of firepower, split chain, the way the coins and wallet work, what you're seeing with Zutopia, taking on the best and saying it's not good enough. These exchanges don't work. We took that risk. We took that risk, people, because Dr. Zoo was not comfortable. There was a very important moment in September of 2022 when Dr. Zoo took around his people to the convention, crypto convention. Some of you were there. And we just got into an intellectual stimulating discussion with Morty at Elbate because we were looking to see if we could list the coins back then with a company like Elbate. And Morty, to his credit, credible guy, wanted to be part and parcel of the crypto vision, created his own exchange, raised millions of dollars. But I had a little niggling problem with Morty. I was a bit concerned about the way in which that if we had all these coins trading on Elbate, that is the Zoo coins, that is what you people wanted to see trading, what happens to the money? And it sits in a so-called escrow account, and that escrow account was looking after the funds. And I said to Morty, that's what I said to him, Morty, who's looking after that money? If I had $100 million worth of Zucoin sold, where does it go? He said, well, he looks after it and a couple of other staff. I've got a spine-tingling tingle up my back. With enough problems over the years with dealing with idiots in government that can't control the budget, especially the court case we had, people that share passwords in government, tap into the Reserve Bank, and then you've got another crew that says there's 3 people looking after the keys to the money. That worried Dr. Zoo immensely. Then there was the other exchange we had and lost $1 million there, but it was the best lost $1 million ever. Probably could put in a horse, actually, without these new prospectuses. But there you go. Now, the beautiful thing about that learning curve was that it was all wrong, the way in which the industry was working for consumers, despite the regulators trying to put fingers in the pie and controlling things. They hadn't quite worked it out. Now, sadly, I say sadly because we don't want any fellow competitors in trouble, but they're all dropping off. Turnover in the crypto space is dying. The coins that they've been producing are a joke. Meme coins, they're not worth anything. NFTs, zero. Bitcoin, I like Bitcoin. Like to compete with Bitcoin, and we can help Bitcoin. I've said that the other day. I don't think I described how we can do that, but I can tell you exactly how we can do it. I'll talk about that in a tick. Bitcoin, Ethereum, don't like Ethereum. It's all too congested, gas fees, costs, bills, trying to get smart contracts in play. Vitalik, he's not going too well. He's had 6 or 7 of his head key developers resign because it's not working to plan. They cannot sustainably build ecosystems on a scale that we want, on scalability to compete with MasterCard and Visa. We can. Happy to throw that out there. So, yesterday, Morty sends out an announcement. Dear Elbate customers, we're writing to let you know that the elbate.com platform will be permanently shutting down on the 30th of June 2026. After consideration, we've made the decision to permanently close the platform. This decision follows a review of current market conditions and the operating environment in Australia, which means the platform can no longer continue operating in a sustainable way. Customer assets remain available for withdrawal, and our priority is to ensure customers have sufficient time and support to withdraw any remaining AUD and currency balances before the final closure on 30 June 2026. After 30 June 2026, users will no longer be able to log in to their Elbate account. Because of this, all customers must withdraw any remaining AUD and crypto balances before the 30th of June. To make this process as easy as possible, we've reduced the minimum withdrawals to 1 cent and cryptocurrency withdrawals to $1. The platform will continue to operate until 22nd of June 2026. And then there is a list of the key dates. Now that's sad. You spend millions of dollars, you try and build a business like that, and Morty, he's a nice guy, don't get me wrong. His sister also operating in the business, so I have no idea as to the background and the circumstances, but I can tell you the pressure of creating a custodial ship exchange, and this is how it works with crypto and fiat, is a nightmare because it is such onerous in costings to do. It is a nightmare, people. Dr. Zoo has talked about this at a convention not that long ago, and all of a sudden, there you go. We talked about those 2 words being put into the act called making arrangements, and it's dragging people under. Good people, good businesses trying to provide a service are 6 feet under. Probably more than that because they're like the Titanic. They've hit the bottom. Now, this is not good. This is not good because you are stifling Australian investment, which is why I say, people, Churchill, we shall fight them on the beaches. We shall fight them in the land. We shall fight them everywhere. And that's what we do best. We fight people. We never give up. Poor old Morty. Now, it was a concern because you've got to make money and there's very tight margins. And you cannot expect when you have someone like David Pocock and Jackie Lambie in the Senate, a couple of fruitcakes, deciding the future of these outcomes by not reading the legislation in the first place. And when there's an independent study that said that the very nature of the laws they were bringing into play was going to cost Australian businesses $13.4 billion over 10 years, you have got to be kidding. What is wrong with these people? I listened to David Hughes, the comedian, the other night. Absolute legend. Hughesy. He's supposed to make things funny. Wasn't nothing funny about what he said. This country is going to rack and ruin. Now get out there, people. Protect your value. We've had actual people in the last week contacting Dr. Zoo. They're going to move overseas. They've had enough. You cannot continue to take and take and take and then lose money as a bureaucrat on stupid projects, which is as long as your arm. Dr. Zoo's got a great history of recording the most ridiculous expenditures across both governments. Doesn't matter. Pink Bats was a great one. I mean, how good's that? Peter Garrett sang in the band Midnight Oil. That's where he should have stayed. He's running around Minister of Pink Bats. 3 people die. $4 billion gets spent. And for what? Nothing. $4 billion under the reign of Julie Gillard and Kevin Rudd. And Peter Garrett should have gone to jail. Young electricians killed because it was just ridiculously rolled out at the time. And what happens? He pokes his head up the other day, and now he's going to do some inquiry into nuclear. Can you believe it? He has as much nuclear knowledge as Dr. Zoo on a Sunday afternoon looking at the radiator, fair income. So, people, be careful. Let's get on the front foot, which we can do now. I say that about Morty because we could have ended up taking the easy road and had the coins. Yes, we might have had some short-term gains and people get out early, but this is a project that's about long-term sustainability. And we are ticking the boxes across every single thing that we've strove to achieve, which is coming from the leadership, our CTO, Robert Novak, which leads me into the big one. We thought we'd put in and see if we can get some recognition as a result of what he's built, which will have absolutely extraordinary international ramifications, both in terms of utility, which Bitcoin can never deliver, productivity, taking away the money from the big guns being the big corporates that have been aggregating your data, sucking you dry since the internet started. It was never intended that the internet was a place for this to occur with big tech. Sure, they got to make money. We get it. We understand it. But when they take your data and sell that to someone else and aggregate it, and all of a sudden they make money on your data and feed all this weight of information in terms of advertising back to you, which there's a heavy price that the merchants then pay, it doesn't end up in the consumer pocket. There are 2 winners. One, big tech, Google, Meta, all those sort of, clowns like Mark Zuckerberg preying on social media. Governments try to rein them in on the pretext of people that are under 16 because of all the content, on the pretext that gambling's bad for us. Gambling, people, is going to work. When you go to work and you work, say, a 5-day week, most of the entrepreneurs are working 24/7, 7 days a week, but nevertheless, 5 days a week, and 2.5 days is free work for the government. They get paid, and you don't get to keep it. When you add up all the taxes and you put it all in one big pot, payroll taxes, you've got GST, you've got salary taxes, the list goes on and on. Why would you bother waking up? You just work 2 days and stay home. Maybe Jacinta Allen's onto something. Work from home. Just bugger it, all of us. Just stay at home, and that way you don't have to worry about paying the taxes because then they can't lose it on pink bats. Pink bats. That's just one of the list. And don't get me wrong, if you're a Liberal supporter, they're just as bad. We had $65 billion spent on submarines trying to patch the holes because the submarines don't like water. Can you believe it? Let's go and buy a submarine. Well, hang on here. Oh, wait a minute. We've got a problem. The submarine doesn't like water, doesn't like going underwater. And then you try and patch it. I mean, how crazy are these people? Who Who puts them in charge of running anything? Money. I mean, it is the most mind-blowing. Or you get someone like Jacinta that comes in and with Dan and says, let's build a road. No, let's cancel it. Let's spend $1.5 billion in cancelling the contract. Well, let's go and move the entire Commonwealth Games to Ballarat because that's a good idea. It's cold down there. I love the people. We got people down there in Ballarat we know really well. And then you cancel that and you spend another $360 million, a cancellation fee. The most mind-blowing. Most of these people would be in jail if they were company directors. If ASIC got onto them, they wouldn't be here because it's taxpayers' money. But coming back to our story, what's our story? We thought we'd surprise the big man, talking about the CTO, Robert Novak, the person we've all got our faith and trust in terms of the back-end system, which you are seeing happening now. I know we're getting edgy. We all want the $1,000 a coin pretty quick. I'm getting edgy. Dr. Zoo, can't wait for the collapse of the share market. Can't wait for all these things to fall off the cliff because we are going to be buying like you wouldn't believe. Wouldn't believe. Got some great ideas on takeovers we're going to do with tokens, and we're going to follow the path of Larry Fink. We're not going to worry about going to Mars. We'll let others take that risk. Couldn't care less for Mars. If they do establish a colony, well, then by all means, we'll give them a wallet and we'll transfer intergalactic speed of light, and make sure they can do their transfers before they go to the McDonald's on Mars. Be beautiful. So we put in a proposal, a big submission, many weeks ago with the Australian Financial Review. Thought we'd have a crack and see how innovative the entire program is across the board. And that includes all of the elements that come with the innovation. This is the 2026 Most Innovative Companies Award. Not expecting much, really. We just thought the big guns mightn't want to see this happening because your product, your coins, are powerful on a number of fronts. It's not just the Zucoins. It's not just revolutionising Bitcoin. It's changing the structure and the dynamic of scalability. You know, now whether you're a climate fanatic or not, doesn't matter. The reality is, by chance or otherwise, we don't have carbon emissions when people transact wallet to wallet, or close to zero. There might be a few little bits of airy-fairy CO2 flopping around, but that's about it. Because we don't have the massive computing power required to validate a transaction. We don't have the great wall of Bitcoin people. It's in your wallets right now. You could do 50 million transactions between each other. And guess what? There's 2 cached transactions sitting in split chain, which means it can run on the back of an oily rag. In fact, the back of an oily computer. Plug it in, boom, $100 a month, away you go. Doesn't need $88,000 to mine a Bitcoin at a loss, even though the Bitcoin is sort of fluffing around at 62,000. Be careful when that one goes through. If that breaks through 60,000, there's only one way it's going, and that's, as soon as we see what happens with this SpaceX, I predict it'll probably be a nice big record, capital success, and then we'll see what happens as it spirals. Yes, Jolly Habitant, come on, Alan, no carbon. Well, if you can measure the carbon in your phone as an increase above the transaction, then it's not about, we do need carbon, by the way, there's plenty of carbon. In fact, Dr. Zoo has done a thesis on CO2. Now, if you look at CO2, it's only 0.4% of the world's atmosphere is in CO2. Think about that. Bugger all. Even if you doubled it, even if you got rid of all electric cars and went back to fuel, right, fossil fuels, and you doubled it. It's all about trying to correlate between that rise of CO2 versus the increase in temperature, because it's the temperature they keep waffling on about. Now, I got a problem. In my thesis, happy to send this out to people if you want to have a look at it. It's not so much about the CO2 increase in volume, it's about the molecules. The molecules are speeding at rapid rate of knots, and if they speed up, that's where you can generate increases in carbon. Now, the thesis says this: if there is a universal increase in CO2, it is universal. In other words, it doesn't sort of come in pockets, right? CO2 just doesn't sort of float around there on the Mekong and spend its luxury time down there, what it does is it goes universally the same across the planet. Well, that's the theory, which then means you've got to have measurements in relation to the CO2. But I'm going to tell you something. For 70 years, people, Mawson Station down there in the Antarctica, right? This is their own evidence, empirical evidence that is, of the readings of increasing temperature, has not had a single increase in temperature in 70 years. Now, how do you explain that? How do you explain that? If carbon is around the planet and increasing, there's got to be an explanation. Why is it that one of the best spots on Earth hasn't got an increase in temperature that's universal with all the other increases in temperature, if that's the case? I'll tell you why. Because Dr. Zhu's thesis says the molecules in the atmosphere, carbon, aren't rushing around at 1 million miles an hour, which might increase the amount of CO2 despite the volume increase, because the volume increase has been picked up. And as you quite rightly say here, you need it for the trees. You need it for the lush green atmospheres there at the Congo, Mekong. Congo's the same. Anyway, goodness knows how we got onto that. Dr. Zhu's having a mind blank. But anyway, it's one of the things. Oh, talking about the phone. That's what happens. Someone's questioning about the phone. Well, if you can get a productivity reading of CO2 on your phone because of the use of your Zucoin wallet, well, you send it into Dr. Zhu, because there are clear, unequivocal evidence about the output from these large AI servers that we're going to be taking advantage of, these large data plants, the massive computing power required for Bitcoin just to give the luxury of telling you that the transfers happened. I've told you before, it makes absolutely no sense. Satoshi had it wrong. Gonski, there's the call. Satoshi, ring me. Adam Brandt, ring me. Adam Brandt. He's a fruitcake, that bloke. No, the other bloke, Adam Brandt. The co-founders, the cypherpunks that created this thing, had no concept in their brain about the extent of the algorithms required and the computing power that's needed just to simply tell you the transaction A went to B and it's real. That's what it's all about. You do that currently in your wallets. You do that with no excessive usage in terms of power, because you're using your phone for other things. Maybe if you're taking the whole phone and chucking it in the shitter, well, then you won't have any CO2 at all. But there you go. That's to do with that. Now, that's part and parcel of the big picture scenario, people, which is all about what was considered in the financial review application, the original nomination with a pretty reasonably extensive submission of all of the things that has come about because of you guys sitting there with a coin in your wallet and where it's heading. Now, that doesn't include things like we've added in the uniqueness of Zutopia, which is, here we are, 4 years later, and Elbate's gone. Gonski, and there'll be many more. These centralized exchanges will run into serious problems because the costs and overheads to run the damn things and simply deliver an outcome which says person A wants to sell to person B, and there are problems. We raise this, we flag this, and we are very, very comfortable, because all Zutopia does, what does it do? It just stores a listing. We don't want your information. And that's the other fundamental big thing for the Australian Financial Review to think about: innovation. That's the other thing. There goes the phones here again. Anyway, the big thing about the concepts of and the incredible technology, when you log in, which we solved that iOS problem the other week, when you log into your Zucoin wallet and you press a button to install the Zutopia wallet, one button click and boom, shakalaka, you're off and running. Think about what you've just achieved by opening a Zutopia wallet. We have not collected in the database one single bit of your private information. There is no login. There is no names. There is no detail, because of the unique capacity to verify against the wallet with the split chain proving ownership. That's the signature test, people. Now, let me put this to you. If the Australian Financial Review got their head on this, that little invention in itself is a global game changer. Why? Because every day we have these issues of our data going to websites that we log into. Might be the Combank, might be the NAB, might be the local shop, whatever you're logging into on a daily basis. Think about all the logins and all the passcodes you've got to log into these things. You could have, people, 100, 200, 1,000 login signature codes direct to your Zucoin wallet. That it recognises the signature test, gives a proof of ownership, and suddenly, there you go, you've logged into that website without a single bit of personal information being stored by a third party on the database. Now, don't you think that's revolutionary? Isn't that a game changer for hackers trying to steal your data, or Mark Zuckerberg trying to use your data to sell for advertising dollars? The world's changing, everybody, and split chain, it can deliver. It can deliver because it's got the scalability and the capacity to handle it. Trillions of transactions. Now, that's just one example for the Australian Fin Review. One example of changing the dynamic of technology. It doesn't include the other things we can do. We're talking about all sorts of things to change the playing field for things like DDoS attacks. Won't go into that today, but this is another unique strategy that we can put in play. But the big one, people, on really putting the firepower and the connectivity between merchants and consumers. That's what Article 34 was about the other day. Democratising global commerce. Now, absorb those words. Democratising global commerce. It's trying to say to you that the Zoo vision is an integrated ecosystem that nobody can or will be able to achieve because they don't have the firepower of split chain, and we don't need to know who you are when data is being on-sold to make money, which goes directly between merchant and consumer. Now, you need to have a good look at this article, people. 9th of June, 2026, Article 34. It lays the ground rules for the world that's changing with the internet. The internet was originally designed, by the way, for merchants to put up their shingle, a web page, and you come along and you press the button and you're dealing with the merchant directly, and away you go. Now what happens? You're lucky if you even get to a merchant's web page without Google or someone interfering, and even AI now, directing you to that. They take your information, they absorb all of your data, and they make money off it. They know where you are, they know who you are, they know what you are, they know your gender, they know everything. And they sell it. And they make money off it. And they keep it. And then they end up giving some of it to these dimwits in Parliament around the world. Pick a spot, pick a country. There's so many. The Association of Dimwits is a huge association. It's an illustrious group of people. It includes bureaucrats and politicians. And they just work out, once they get that money, they work out how to lose it. Now, what we're saying, the true democratising of global commerce, people, is where, because of tokenisation, because of the vision of what Larry's on about, even he doesn't have the firepower we have, because he's going to have to rely on these other blockchains or centralised blockchains, right? Merchants can, for the first time, know that there is somebody out there. They don't know, and they don't care who you are as a person. They care that there is a person. It could be an alien. Someone's written here about aliens. We welcome the aliens. We welcome the aliens, and we want them to use Zucoins for intergalactic commerce. So once you start flitting around out there and you're looking for that delivery on Mars, as we talked about, you're going to need some intergalactic money, a universal intergalactic coin. We can satisfy that problem. Don't you worry. The aliens are going to enjoy it. We don't want to fight the aliens. We want to get them to enjoy it, because that's part of the intergalactic universal concepts we're talking about. Democratising global. We can democratise international, intergalactic, more than Elon can ever do, because he's stuck with trying to work out how to get 3.2 billion people onto 3.2 million satellites that can only handle 100,000, because suddenly what's going to happen is there'll be that much junk up there, we won't even have the sun filtering through to be able to feed our trees with the issues we're going to have with carbon. It'll be beautiful. that much junk falling back to Earth, we won't have enough land surface mass to bury the stuff. Now, think about this. Connecting every merchant with every consumable person. We don't know who you are, but there's somebody there that's got a phone, it's got a wallet, and they get the value proposition of what the merchants can deliver directly. I've told you before, we've got two excited business people here. They're thinking about Dr. Zoo's strategies. Harry and Guru, spoke to them the other day at coffee. They want to move forward. They want to make their businesses strong. They want to raise more money. And all of a sudden, they can, because they can drop their tokenized value proposition, $20 worth of coffee, to you directly using notifications to your phone. They don't know it's you. They know that there is someone there at the other end. And that person at the other end, guess what? He can redeem it. He or she can redeem that $20 value back to the merchant instantly. Notifications. I know you went through pain, people. You went through pain because we had to solve notifications. And this is one of the big issues that was put forward as part of this total global democratizing commerce. We needed instantaneous transfer. We needed notifications. That's what the Australian Financial Review was put in the submissions. Now, those submissions went in. That included the core concepts, which also embraces Zutopia as a unique world-first marketplace that only stores bits of paper in terms of listings. You guys do the rest. You buy and you sell. Your money moves between yourselves. Your coins move. Boom. And that includes the weight of new tokens coming into play because, as I said before, if that $20 voucher of tokenized value doesn't want to be redeemed straight away, but can be pushed straight to my phone right now, right here now, Harry and Guru, you could be in their favorites list and you could be receiving this token right now. And you can verify the ownership test against the split chain. Go and try that with something else. Won't happen. Will not happen. But guess what? You can either decide to use that $20, have your coffee this afternoon, or you can put that onto Zutopia and trade it. And you make money. That is the key. That is the absolute key to a full ecosystem that creates value of money, billions and billions and billions between merchants and consumers as to what the internet was invented for. Not to be hijacked by these clowns. You get the value in your pocket and you don't even have a government. You do not even have a government taking 47% when that money moves from the merchant to you. What the hell do you want them to do with it? You want it. You want to give it to the kids. You want to buy some nappies. I was thinking about this the other day. One of the big players that we're looking to, wanting to, if you're out there and about, is that gas companies, electricity companies, telcos. When they get their head on this and they start to realise that they can embrace direct market benefits to you for your electricity account, and even if it's only $10 and they send it to you and you get a discount of $10 or $20 direct to you, that doesn't have to filter through your wages and salaries and go back in a circles. So you pay more tax and the Elbate gives you $250 back next year. What a crazy numbnut concept that is. That means that you could have tens of millions of people in direct communication with every form of merchant, goods and services. It's a complete dynamic change. Now, those sort of modelling, if you look at the modelling, refer back to Article 34, and then you'll realise that's what we put on the table. That's the transparency that went to the Australian Financial Review. And I was pleased to know, sort of out of left field really, this morning, email come through, and people, your coins, your technology, everything you're looking to do, even though we're waiting to become millionaires, not far away, your contribution with the great man's absolute extraordinary brain power. And there's a lot of other people underneath there that need to be given some big ticks. Riley's one of them. Zutopia, been an absolute incredible journey to where we are today, ready to press that big green button. We'll get the AusTrack through. Don't worry about that. The technology is amazing. It's actually one of the greatest, soundest systems. If AusTrack step back and have a look at what's been provided, it gives absolute validity to what they want, and that is source of funds and where it's going, and that you're a good person. If you're a bad person, don't bother trading Zucoins. Piss off. Go and find something else. But today, we got an email from the Australian Financial Review that we have worked our way through into stage 2 and the final stage for the awards. Now, how far we go from here, I wouldn't have a clue, but that in itself, given the number of competitors and people that actually get into that position for stage 2, is incredible. So we are now able to proceed with that. We've got to put our second round of submissions through by the 23rd of July, I think it was, which we'll do. Team's working on that now. And even at this point, that is huge recognition for, given all of the things, all the hardships, all the things you've been through, as a complete package, because it works beautiful. It works beautiful. And again, if you've got any issues, people, please, anything to do with Zucoin wallet, you send it to Zucoins, support at zucoins.com. If you've got a problem with Zutopia, please send it to support at zutopia.com. We need to know things if they pop up, because it's the only way we get to have a look at it and fix it. Screenshots are great. If you can do a screenshot of where your problem is, then by all means put it in. In the meantime, make sure you follow instructions about your downloads. You don't need truckloads of them. You just basically need a good one. So if you're in the wallet, press the download or the backup button and back it up. You can put it on a USB. It's quite simple. Very simple to put encryption on it if you want. You can even bang it across to your computer and your hard drive. You can leave it in your phone if you like. If you think your phone's secure enough and you're happy with it, you might have biometrics there as well. Leave it on your phone through your files. You put in your files. You can search for it and you can always restore. You can get a new wallet. No big deal. It's the easiest crypto, as far as we know, on the planet. Everything else is a friggin' nightmare. And obviously, these are interesting days. We talked about the Iranians and they're playing games, and that might continue to put pressure on the oil pricing. That'll continue to put pressure on governments around the world. And suddenly, we saw a bit of an inflationary rise in America last night, 4.2%. Things can go pear-shaped very quickly. The market was down about 2%. It should have a bounce, I would have thought. I think we've got a few dead cats out there. The dead cat bouncers will be back, and those dead cat bounces mean that it's a false market. But it'll be a bit of reaction to all the excitement of people wanting to go to space. So we have set ourselves in a position that we can trade amongst each other. We will be pushing hard and fast on merchants. We will be pushing hard on the delivery of the big numbers we've talked about, which we can do because of the database. Very excited that we can easily get people on board now, and very excited that those difficult boxes have come to fruition. Apple was a freaking nightmare. Robert, congratulations on making stage 2, big fella. It is really a very, very motivating, impacting scenario to see that we have made it through to stage 2. That's the main big stage. That's the one that the final round of competitors get to play with each other, and whose biggest dickus is better than the others in terms of their technology. But we're very happy with it, and we're very happy if you take the time to read Article 34, people. Very sad day in terms of our competitors. As I said, not that there was any predictions there. I was just a bit nervous about Elbate because of the structure. And today would have been a day, if we'd have been trading on Elbate, the Zucoin would be no longer trading. It would be done and dusted, gonski. The other exchanges are talking about all sorts of problems they've got. We're not out of the woods yet with that. And can you believe it? Can you believe it? Out of the wreckage, up pops our little setup, which is looking fantastic. So let's just stick with the plan. Very sad day. My wife passes 4-year anniversary tomorrow. So that's a sad day for the family, 4 years. But again, one of the great, amazing attributes Joy had was the journey through cancer, was the journey of never give up. At not one single stage was there any inkling whatsoever of giving up. She went and wanted to get through 2 weddings, birth of another grandchild, absolutely staggering pain ratings she used to have. Pain ratings about 12 out of 10. Dr. Zoo wouldn't last a week. Dr. Zoo won't be doing that. So it's that's to the message to all of our supporters that have put the alligator blood hat on. A couple 100,000 around the world. Maldives, Fiji, got a big gang over there. Los Angeles, huge gang. And you know exactly what it takes. That alligator blood. She passed away the day after he came back from that spinal operation and asked the question, did he win? Well, did he win? Have a look at the replays, people. That'll be one of the great stories of all time. The comebacks, a bit like the New York Knicks today, coming back and winning the that third round. Fantastic game, but this is what happens. There's some been incredible journeys of people in their lives, and we are in the thick of it to help. So to those young people that were contemplating suicide some years ago, I take my hat off to you. You know that there are opportunities in the world, and do not stress because some fruitcake is trying to dictate the terms of how this country runs. That can change in a heartbeat. Follow your instincts. You do what you can in your businesses. Dr. Zoo can give you as much advice as possible in terms of structures. Can't give you financial advice, but he certainly can point you in the right direction that what you see, and possibly with the money, the episodes that we're going to be entering into in terms of things like the Australian Financial Review, we tick that box. It would be absolutely staggering if the powers to be awarded to the credit of Robert the innovation that he has created. Even now, stage 2 is unbelievable, and it is an extraordinary response to all the boxes ticked as it works. Because if you read the material, we're going to put a little burst on it about what stage 2 means and how big that is. It's the innovation and commercialization that's crucial, market disruption and competitive impact, responsible innovation, which is, we cannot tick more boxes, people. It's unbelievable. If you're a fanatic with climate, if you're not, doesn't really matter. We tick both boxes. Pollution, both boxes. If you tick any of the other boxes on culture and talent, the inputs and the future readiness, it's all there. It's all there. And it embraces so many aspects of our day-to-day lives. And I'm talking about the Zoo vision of all the things that are coming and how it's going to be and what we can achieve and do. You've waited this long. It's fantastic. And you'll play the games. You'll play games with trading. That's what speculation's about. Go up and down and do what it does. But then all of a sudden it settles down. And then people realize really what they've got. At the end of the day, to all our friends around the world, 10 coins. Whatever you do, always tuck away 10. If there's a billion people with 10 coins, you do the maths. Quantity theory of money tells you demand outweighing supply is only one way it goes. And they'll be moving quicker than a speeding sound of, well, any of Elon's rockets won't be moving quick enough to catch up with us, I can tell you. He's going to be out there worrying about getting fried, and we're down here taking advantage of the database with confidence, with a system that preserves the integrity of your personal rights, deals you into the game, and makes you in a position where you can make money as a result of this entire ecosystem. That's where we want the young people. We want the young people to come out of the blocks and realise, as we tested down there in Geelong at the university, they knew that the firepower of Zukaz, which is going to be unbelievable, they can make money and they can enjoy their other activities in their day-to-day lives if they're working, because there's going to be a big hit with AI. Told you before, Dr. Zoo's not Nostradamus, but he uses AI to his advantage, but it's going to get ugly. Ugly. And don't put yourself in that position if you don't use it. So, thanks, people. I'm going to leave it at that. Got some really good topics on Monday. Have a great weekend. It is huge. Read the stuff that we're putting out. The team is, you can then go to myzucoins.org. There is an article that Robert's put out about the Stage 2 awards, us getting through to that phase. And the fact that the innovations that we built has been taken seriously is fantastic, fantastic stuff. You can have a look at that. There is the Zoo AI articles on zucoins.com. Website's going to be tweaked a bit in the coming weeks. There is a core team of hard-ass testers in Zutopia as we speak. You got any problems there? But again, see if you can wander in. Follow the live Zutopia app for the first phase, which is getting yourself onboarded, that you make it easy for yourself. You can link your wallets. If you have any problems, for goodness sake, contact support@zutopia.com. Let's just iron out any of these things before that green button's pressed. And it could happen any time. We don't know when, but let's just get that in play with Austrac and where we go, and then enjoy, because it'll be full throttle. Well, people, leave it at that. Let's sit back, relax, and we'll come back on Monday with some more update. If we get anything that comes in, as I said, from Austrac at any stage, whether there's a Dr. Zoo or not, we will get Riley to send that out and press the button. You'll just get the notification. So let's get into it. Looking out.